Days.
Where we cover everything big and small in the world of dynamics. Good
How you doing,
afternoon.
Max?
I can't complain. I mean, I'm here with you and everyone on DFF, so it's a good day for me and a good start to the weekend. How about you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're in the middle of an era of AI event here in our innovation hub, so they let me break away so that I could come do this session, and I have to go back and lead some more of the
Okay.
in-person session in my hub for the rest of the afternoon before I get to call it a weekend. Anyway,
I was
enough
I
of
was
that.
gonna say your background today is a little bit less
Yeah,
interesting than it usually is.
right, right. No Avengers behind me today. I'm in the office. Well, I bet you came armed with a dad joke, so let me have it.
Of course. All right. So, I like to make it relatively topical, and right now we're basically mid between the end of Halloween and then Thanksgiving. So, why do vampires love Thanksgiving, even with Halloween so close by?
Something they can sink their teeth into? What is it? What is it?
With Thanksgiving, there's no steak.
Right, they're safe. I love it. I love it. Well, I decided to go kind of themed as well. So mine was what's the biggest difference between chickens and turkeys?
Chickens and turkeys. I would say the letters in their words, the number of letters.
Chickens celebrate Thanksgiving.
It's a pretty good one.
I thought it was kind of cute for a Thanksgiving joke. All
Well,
right,
mine,
as always, that'll do. Let's see if we can get into something that people care about here with some content. So, from my updates this fortnight, Copilot Studio got some nice updates. So, in the November timeframe, we're starting sort of this new newsletter way of updating various products. So, Power Apps has had it for a while by Clay Wiesner, and now we're getting Copilot Studio versions. So, the big news is we have announced the ability to do agentic co-piloting, and that is actually generally available inside of the kind of SharePoint experience or the M365 Copilot experience inside of Teams to be able to make these agents. It's not completely standalone yet, but from within the context of M365, these agents are things that we can create. You can invoke them, they're scoped, you can make them do specific things and actually take action, not just surface knowledge back pretty easily. So those are really interesting capabilities. To be able to do fully autonomous agents standalone, not connected to M365, is still a work in progress. And as this announcement says, look for something next week. So if you haven't seen the registration link, I will make sure and post it in the show notes, but make sure that you have registered for and attend Ignite as much as you're able to, or at least watch the content that comes out asynchronously. We'll, of course, have some updates of some of the things that got announced when we have our next meeting, but that's when a lot of the capabilities for standalone things that you just build in Copilot Studio are going to surface, including these autonomous triggers, and ways to do testing and see what the inputs and outputs and actions taken by your agents are as you're trying to troubleshoot. And uh, the other thing that is actually live now is that we have updated the internal models so that if you upload content to Copilot Studio, that content can include images now. It's not just the text of that content that is something that the Copilot knows about to be able to answer questions about it just by uploading the content to it. So another nice thing, as well as large file size. I think I've already talked about the file size improvement. More things have come into the admin centers to be able to make sure and keep your arms around Copilot Studio bots and to make sure that things like Purview and Sentinel are also tightly integrated so that you can keep track of the data movement and the activities that are being taken by those agents and by people interacting with the Copilots. So lots of good stuff in the Copilot Studio realm. Then for model-driven apps, we have Smart Paste rolling out. And this has hit at least the Canadian data centers. I think it will hit Europe. I didn't actually go look at Europe, but it's coming soon to North America. This hasn't made it to North America yet, but it will be coming soon. And the idea of Smart Paste is if you are looking at a model-driven app form, doesn't matter if it's Dynamics or something that you have created, and you have some content in an email, in a PDF, in whatever place you can find some content, a web page that you can just drag your mouse across and hit Control-C to copy it. Just go back over to your model-driven app screen to make that the highlighted browser window, hit Control-V, and Copilot will look at the clipboard data and figure out what from on that it can parse and populate the appropriate data fields with the data that was contained in whatever it is you just copied without you having to cut and paste snippets to put them in the right place. It'll just figure it out and dump them all in the right spot. Of course, you can still do the single field cut and paste if you want to, even though this is on, but that's going to be way more tedious. So it's kind of nice that this smart cut and paste is here. Now, to make it work, you do have to go into the settings in the environment, and you have to make sure that the enable feature for users as this become available, I think you need to make sure that is changed to all users immediately. And then in the environments where this has shown up yet, there'll be a new toggle underneath that that lets you toggle on the Smart Paste preview. And again, this is preview, but it's pretty awesome. Another thing that's coming along with that when it lights up is, so we've had for a little while this kind of smart capability to auto-populate forms, and it will, up until recently, it has always found that in other data inside a Dataverse and tried to give you some hints in terms of what it thinks it can auto-populate for you, so you can just hit the check mark instead of having to type or cut and paste stuff. Well, now it's going to give you a citation of where this came from. Did it come from other Dataverse data, or did it come from the clipboard in terms of what it's suggesting for the form fill assistance? And instead of having to be on a main form, quick view or quick create forms are also now supported for both forms of the form fill assistance. And it's going to light up in all 21 languages, not just English. I guess that I shouldn't say all 21. We support 42, I believe, but 21 of those 42 now allow this. So lots of goodness in that little nugget. In the Power Apps world for October, so in our summary here, I think we have talked about, well, actually, this is different. This is for the maker experience. Field suggestions. So when you are creating the forms and the views for your model-driven apps, that it has a Copilot to suggest new fields that you might want to entertain adding to your data table. And those column suggestions are now generally available. So nice to know that those are there. Data workspace, kind of that new modern experience for creating the tables and the relationships between them, is now generally available and supported in 9 languages. And the comment generated formula. So when you're in the Maker Studio and you're actually trying to work on putting PowerFX in place, so that if you just put the comment in and write the text of what you're looking for it to do, it will generate the PowerFX for you. That is now generally available as well. So use it at will. We've added a little bit more control in the governance area. So under the settings, the generative AI settings, that we now have broken apart the data movement between regions and whether you can use Bing search at all from within your tenant. So if you wanted to disable Bing or disable moving data between various regions for compliance or other security desires, you can shut that stuff off. And then virtual tables have finally made it into the solution framework so that they can be moved accurately through our ALM processes and pipelines and those kinds of things. So really nice to know that that is there. I think we've talked about Copilot Studio having Solution Explorer and those kinds of things in public preview in the last show, so I'm not going to go over that anymore. And I believe that was all the Power Apps new features. So this next one, for the more professional developer crew who is using Power Platform to do more rapid development, this next thing is super cool, that in an environment, you can go connect that entire environment up to Git, and that you can then publish to Git and choose your branches and those kind of things across whatever you are using in the Power Platform. And so once you're connected, you can do the commits, you can do pull requests, you can do some of those things. You can check for updates if others are also co-developing with you. Super cool new preview feature. So this is not generally available yet, but it is really nice for you to be able to work right in source control in whichever environments get connected up to Git without having to do a whole bunch of other manipulation. So play with that if you want your code that you're working on in the low code space to automatically just get committed to Git and not have to wait for the solution to move. For Copilot for formulas in Power Apps, there's a new update so that right in the kind of PowerFX bar as you are starting to work with creating it. So I had shown in that last thing that one of the things became generally available with being able to comment the code. Well, this is even not having to comment. This is just describe it and it will do it right in line with what you're trying to put together. And when we brought this feature forward, we also have explain your formula. So you can highlight, I guess you got to turn that on, is what we were talking about there. But the partial explain, the part of the formula that you highlight is another feature of this that will help put whatever you've just highlighted into natural language so that you can maybe explain it if you're not quite sure what the logic is that's being implemented in something. So pretty nice capabilities here to do things in the formula manipulation part of making, especially the app side. For our Power Pages users, this is really just a public service announcement reminder that you can turn on a content delivery network setting on your Power Page, and that when you do that, every page that is a static page and not doing things that is dynamically being pulled from Dataverse kind of as you're trying to show the user experience, which means these have to be anonymous access pages. Everything that is requiring authenticated access always gets redrawn every time, can't be cached because we're relying on the authenticated user to have their data returned and those kind of things in order to make things accurate. But if you are looking at having pages on your Power Page that are anonymous and that you would like to cache, turn the CDN on and it will do all kinds of good stuff to help the performance of your page. Power Automate Desktop also got some November updates that got called out. So all of the Power Automate connector infrastructure, except for custom connectors right now, are now available in the assets library of Power Automate Desktop, so that it's a lot easier to combine desktop automation and cloud automation all in a unified experience that's not limited to just a few of the connectors. So that was a pretty big deal. If you use CyberArk to store your creds, that's now in preview to go just grab those creds from your CyberArk. And PowerFX is now generally available to be used in the context of the desktop flow experience. So another nice feature. The only other thing that I've got, so that's all the Power Platform specific news. In Copilot for Sales specifically, there is a new feature that just is rolling out that allows you to look at related documents to a record in Dataverse that is being surfaced within the Sales app. And you can look at summaries of those documents versus having to actually click on the document and bring it open and maybe having a Copilot that can summarize it, maybe not, depending on what type of document it is. This will just allow you to say, hey, can you get me a summary of either a document or the documents that are tied to the record? So nice to know. And this actually works across into SharePoint as well, and I guess I should mention, it is limited to leads, contacts, opportunity, and accounts. So the COLA entities are the only ones that have this turned on, but I believe that's the only ones that natively are tied to SharePoint that I think you'd have to go turn on extra functionality that we would have to parse through. And over time, I'm sure that will light up as well. Document summary for sales users, also there. Max, I believe that is everything on my list of updates. So I'll let you jump in and walk us through all the other stuff.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan, and got a good
I am
amount of.
seeing your screen.
All right, perfect. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So yeah, I've got a good amount of bullet points to walk us through, but with 15 minutes left, we may be saving everyone a few minutes here unless there's some questions that come in through the chat. So with that, we'll just go ahead and jump right in. So first we'll cover, as always, HR, Retail, Business Central, and Project Operations. First, with our exploring our recruiting Copilot scenarios. So this is part of a brand new Power App that's available for your HR users when they go through recruitment. So definitely call out attention to this Power App itself. But within the Power App, there's some specific features where Copilot's coming in and especially helping us with the job description generation, as well as acting as an interview assistant. So these are just 2 points of where this feature is, where Copilot's coming in to help out this overall Power App. But really just wanted to use this as an opportunity to call attention to the overall app. I actually got to see this demoed recently at the User Summit conference by some of the leads of our PG, and it was a really great demo, getting to see it fully go end to end. So if you are looking for some kind of recruiting solution or need some help in that area, definitely recommend going to look at that. Next, we have some of our Commerce Copilots going generally available. So I just brought this to our what's new and planned for D365 Commerce page. Mostly just wanted to call out attention here into our AI innovation with Copilot. So we had quite a few different Copilot features that were announced back in the June timeframe, or I guess a little bit before June, but went to public preview at that point. Just want to call attention here because all of these have now gone into general availability. 2 in particular that I've thought were more interesting, at least to me, was discovering store trends and patterns with usage of Copilot Insights, and then also improving your sales using the Commerce Copilot Product Insights. So I thought this Product Insights, the dashboard it gives you, and the ability to drive down into your product detail and how you've sold on that really shows a lot and gives your users some actionable insights to work on top of.
Yeah, I think all of these little co-pilots woven right into where users do work is really going to be a theme over the next year.
Oh, I mean, 1,000%. And I think the only change I would make there is that I think we might be just seeing a little bit more of the naming change from co-pilots to agents. As we'll see in our finance and supply chain section, we're actually seeing quite a few rollouts of these agentic or agent model, would you call it?
Totally agree. We're trying to make Copilot one thing and all the things that you do within it little agents. So that's accurate. Thanks, Max.
Yep, and I think that's a great call out because actually I believe it's this feature right here is going to be called out in our blog post down below, but we'll get there in just a bit. So this is the first of 2 new project operations Copilot features that we've announced. This first one is for optimizing processes with agent-led time, expense, and approvals. The key here is that Copilot's going to be working autonomously in the background, connected to Outlook as well as Teams, so it can understand from our calendar, from our interactions, what work's being done, what time needs to be logged, and even through the reception of receipts in our Outlook inbox, we'll be able to have Copilot receive that receipt, scan it, and create an entry within D365 all automatically and all autonomously for us. So this is one feature where we're going to be seeing Copilot, in addition to everything that's already been announced, one of the newest features announced for project operations. The next feature that's been announced for our project operations is an enhanced quote experience alongside an AI summary within that experience. So what we're moving towards is called our modern quote user interface. So this is really going to improve how your users are able to enter quotes into the system, especially with how expedited that process will be. In addition to this brand new user interface for quote creation, we've also got Copilot coming into play with our LLM providing some comprehensive overviews, some quote summaries, and I think most importantly, at least, is indicating some upcoming actions and other actionable insights. So it's not only giving us detail on the quote that our users already been working on, but also giving them ways that they can improve that quote and act further to enhance the quote unquote process. Then rounding out our section up top is what's new and planned for Business Central. Just wanted to bring this up because there's quite a few different features that we're going to see have all gone into general availability, mostly in the October timeframe, but all within the last month, we've seen a ton of features going generally available, plus a good few that have also gone into public preview. From just an application standpoint, definitely call out some attention to all the different Shopify connections that we now have and are now generally available. We see just staying current with our Shopify connector, adding an item as a Shopify variant, synchronizing translations to Shopify. So just going through this, we'll see quite a few different connections that we now support in our production environments for Business Central with those Shopify environments. Then just scrolling down slightly, we're going to go to our Copilot and AI section. And likewise, we see a ton of different features, such as those here that were both publicly preview and GA in October, plus a good few that have been made public preview this month. This experience enhancements to chat with Copilot, I think is going to be very interesting. If you like that generative help Copilot that's already there and you want to enhance it further, I would definitely go give this a look. Bank reconciliation, this is one area we're definitely seeing within our finance realm for Copilot to come into play. So just in general, we'll definitely give this a look if you're using Business Central and curious what Copilot features are out there for you to take advantage of. With that brings us into finance and supply chain. I'm just going to start us off with business performance analytics, which has also gone generally available. So this is not a new feature by any means. This is something that we've been building out in the system for a little bit now. So this is an extended data model with some pre-built Power BI reports on top of D365. The data model itself is made available within OneLake so that you can also access it via Fabric and extend that data model out for your own custom reporting purposes. But also, in addition to those pre-built Power BI models, you can also configure your own Power BI models using this new enhanced data model, or you can even create those reports via Excel. So if you have any interest in that Power BI layer, or especially in that Excel layer that's tied to your live D365 data, definitely recommend going to your business performance analytics tool. This is included fully out of the box and is now generally available. To support that, I've also included just a few different tech talks. I wanted to include here the Fast Track Tech Talk series, which is just a little bit of a mouthful, on all of our different talks on business performance analytics. So you see down here, there's 5 overall sessions that have been conducted. I believe most of these have been done within the last 1 to 2 months. Part 1 and 2 may be a little bit older, but these have all been made to support our customers who are looking to put business performance analytics into your production environments and get up and running with that. So if your interest was caught by our first article, definitely come here to learn further on all the granular details. Next, another tech talk. This one, if you don't have time for a 5-part series of 30+ minute tech talks going into the depths of BPA, I would say come here first maybe, or maybe after you've gone through all that BPA content. This is reconciliation in under 5 minutes using M365 Copilot for Finance. So I know we've talked about Copilot for Finance on the show before. This is a Copilot capability based in your M365 suite that can connect to your D365 data, or if you have SAP or any other ERP system, we can also connect there to tie into your ERP data, but also make it usable for M365 purposes. One great use has been reconciliation. And so we've got just a very quick, I believe there's actually a 4 or so minute long video performing reconciliation in under 5 minutes using Copilot for Finance. I think our last tech talk is going to be this one right here. So approvals management mobile app. I also realized after the fact I only included the link to the tech talk, so I'm going to call some attention right down here. This is the Learn link that will take you to documentation about the Approvals Management app, how to go about onboarding and utilizing this. So this is a brand new Power App experience that we're making available to our D365 users out of the box to support in your approval management process. Real quick, just going to call attention here from a licensing standpoint, because I know with our time and expense entry, that can be covered by any licensed user, including Teams and Ops Activity. However, what I've noticed with this app is that it requires either a full base license or at a minimum the operations activity license. So this is really going to support your purchase order, sales order, or any approval processes, but there are some license implications possibly. So give this a look, but take that into consideration. And we also have, as mentioned, our tech talk walking through the details of this brand new app as well. So we'll take us down close to the home stretch. First, we've got adaptive cards. So if you're a Teams user, these will probably look pretty familiar. These are pre-scripted formats that data can be then applied to. So maybe every time a news article comes up or something like this, adaptive card can be sent into a chat or in an email to provide you quick data in a pre-formatted way. You know exactly what you're looking at. I know that my team's built some out for maybe anytime a purchase order's been confirmed, sending a note to a specific team site. But these adaptive cards are now being leveraged outside of Teams. As we see here, they can be used in Teams, Outlook, Copilot Studio chatbots, or many other web applications outside the Microsoft realm. So what we're actually seeing is that these adaptive cards can also now be embedded within D365 Finance and Operations. This is part of their forms that you can embed with help of a developer to provide quick highlighted information at a summary level in a pre-formatted way, so a user can come in here and immediately know what they're looking at and where they need to put their eyes to see the data they need. Then we've got our blog post on our unified pricing management. So this is a brand new pricing feature within D365 focused on the supply chain and commerce side. So what it's really doing is combining our current pricing models in supply chain with the retail and commerce discount model. This is really going to bring together and create an overall unified pricing model and capability within our system, as opposed to having maybe some disjointed features that users may have seen in the past. One of the core features to this is going to be the attribute-based pricing management. So if that's something that you've come across a need for in the past, attribute-based is going to be exactly what you're looking for. And the other thing I want to call attention to quickly here is our unified pricing data model, which offers the concept of our pricing trees to really give you a lot more flexibility and granularity in how you price out all of your products depending on all the different variables. Finally, we've got just one last thing for today, and that's going to be transforming work with autonomous agents. This is kind of what Bart and I were referring to a little bit earlier. This blog post was put out a little bit ago, maybe like 3-4 weeks by the looks of it. But this is, I think, really bringing together the direction that we're headed from an agent-minded standpoint. So these agents are really providing, as Bart mentioned, specific features and functionality as it applies to the business processes for our users. So these are going to be some features that we've already seen in the past, along with some brand new ones. Which is going to bring us down to our operations section, though there's also sales as well as service. So for any of those users who are still on our call here, we'll give that a look. But from an operations standpoint, there's going to be, as we see, the first 3 of these agents, as well as those mentioned here, are going to be our financial reconciliation agent, which is powered by Copilot for Finance. However, we're also going to be seeing a brand new account reconciliation agent, which is going to be embedded within D365 Finance. And then finally, our time and expense agent, which is the project operations feature that we talked about just a few minutes ago, which is going to be autonomously and automatically managing our time entry, expense tracking, and approval workflows. So with that, I think we've covered all of our F&O content for today. And I guess I sold myself a bit short early on because it looks like we're right about on time.
As usual, and great info. So Thanks, Max. And thanks all of you for joining us for another edition of DFF. Again, we will not be on the day after Thanksgiving, which is a fortnight from now, but we'll be back December 13th, I believe, is when our next show will be. So looking forward to seeing you all then, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in 2 fortnights. Cheers, all.